Hello, you guys, and welcome back to Mystical Visions. Today I wanted to do something interesting because where I live, we are celebrating the Hindu god Ganesha, which is the deity of destroying obstacles and making sure you have a clear path wherever you go. And he is also the deity of intellect and cleverness and problem solving and all that good stuff. So I thought today we would do something based on that sort of theme. So today we're taking a look at what obstacles might be in your way, where they come from, why they're here, what the lesson is for you through this obstacle, and also how you can work through it. So you can apply this to things that you're manifesting or just areas of your life where you feel a little bit blocked. And today we'll take a look at any advice that Spirit, the universe, has for you in terms of working through this obstacle. So as always, I've gone ahead and pre-shuffled your cards. For pile one, we have a jade. For pile two, we have an opalite moon. And the dogs are going a little wild outside. And for pile three, we have a blue sodalite. So as always, I will give you guys some time with these three stacks of cards. Go ahead and pick whichever one calls to you intuitively. Timestamps for all the piles are in the video description. If you enjoy this, please remember to like and subscribe. Comment below how this resonates and all that good stuff. It really, really helps the channel out so much. And without much further ado, I'll see you at your reading. Pile number one, hello. So if you guys chose the jade crystal, welcome. This is your reading all about what obstacles may be in your way, where they come from, why they're here, what they're here to teach you, and how you can work through it. So as always, I've gone ahead and pre-shuffled your cards. These cards here will tell us what this obstacle is, and you can very much use this as confirmation for one, whether you've chosen the right pile, and two, whether what you're thinking of is an actual obstacle. And then with these cards here, we'll take a look at what old patterns this obstacle is reflecting, bringing up to be healed, which old beliefs are causing this to be in your way. And then with these cards, we'll take a look at how you can work through this obstacle. And then finally, we'll take a look at some more advice with this one card. So let's go ahead and get started. I should say, when I was shuffling your cards, the energy was quite chaotic. The cards were going everywhere. So something to keep in mind if that resonates. So what is the obstacle that's in your way? We have the Lovers reversed. And that is clarified by the Knight of Pentacles. And for the Animal Spirit cards, we have the Whale Spirit. Trust the great mystery. That is so funny. I literally just, before I started filming this, I literally just watched a documentary about whales. Isn't that wild? But I'm going to leave this guy here. I love whales. They're so cool. Okay, trust the great mystery. The Lovers in reverse and the Knight of Pentacles. I think the obstacle here is a fear of committing to something. I think there's some sort of offer on the table for you, or something that's come your way that you're afraid might be something that just it looks too good to be true. And so there is that Knight of Pentacles energy, where the Knight of Pentacles is someone who will not take a step forward unless they know exactly how something is going to pan out. This is the slowest moving of all knights in the tarot. And to have that clarifying the Lovers in reverse. The Lovers is about your perfect match, about finding love, finding balance, finding someone who gets you, finding someone that you are meant to be with. And it obviously that's the main translation of it, but you can apply that to anything really. It could be a business partnership, a friendship, a business offer, a work offer, something that requires you to put the time in, make a commitment. So it could be a new job offer that's offering you way more than you've ever made before, and it would be fulfilling, but there's something in you that struggles to trust that it's true, that it's real, that it's very much up your alley. 65 reduces to 11, and that is like the mirroring number. So whatever this is in front of you might be the perfect match for you, but because you're not used to having things that look so shiny actually being gold, you may have trust issues. And that is the obstacle. It's not that this is not a good match for you. It's not that this is not a good offer or not trustworthy. It's that you fear it being too good to be real. And I feel like that's the great irony of it, because this card, Trust the Great Mystery, usually talks all about leaping and the net will appear. Trust the universe. There's, that phrase, trust in God and take a step? That's kind of what the gist of this card is. And in this position, talking about what the obstacle is, it's definitely a lack of faith in this turning out well. And at the end of the day, it's important to remind yourself that, good things and bad things happen to everyone. It's not about what happens, it's about who you are when it does. And that's a quote I've stolen off of Neuro Knowledge. If you guys don't know him on YouTube, amazing stuff. Definitely go listen to him. He will blow your mind. But that, I think that really does apply here, because regardless of, whether you trust something and it pans out well or it doesn't pan out well, the point is to refocus some of that strength inwards and understand that you will be okay no matter how this turns out. But anyway, so the obstacle right now is a trust issue. It is a fear of committing to something or someone. It could very well be a relationship, and it feels like you guys are the perfect match. And for whatever reason, there is a fear of, well, if I commit to this and it doesn't pan out, then I'm going to look stupid, So yeah, just a commitment issue. All right. So now that we understand that, let's talk about which old belief this is reflecting. Because every time an obstacle comes up, it is for you to heal something within you that requires your attention right now. And I think we already know what the belief is, but let's see what the cards have to say. Yeah, we have the 5 of Coins, or the 5 of Pentacles, clarified by the 4 of Cups in reverse. Yeah, there might be a pattern in your life of being so afraid of being left out in the cold that you don't even acknowledge or recognize opportunities that are literally being handed to you. Do you see how in the 4 of Cups, this is someone who is so focused on their 3 cups that they don't even recognize this extra cup that the universe is giving to them. And the 5 of Coins is this feeling of being abandoned, of financial ruin, of not having stability or structure or enough to live on. It's that kind of energy. And it feels like it's like in the past, you've felt the wound of abandonment and you've come to almost embrace that feeling as if it were your natural state. Because then there's no, like, if you have no cups to look at all, it doesn't matter if you miss one that comes by. It doesn't matter if you miss an opportunity, because you've convinced yourself that there are no opportunities. And so, say for instance, if we look at this from like a career standpoint, right? Say you're so used to being um, fired or not having any money or doing the work and not getting paid and all of that. You're so used to that becomes your natural state. And so when new opportunities come in, you just automatically assume it's going to turn out poorly, so you just don't even bother taking them. Or with love, it could be that you're so used to being love bombed and then abandoned that when new people come approaching you, they come by, with an offer of love or, hey, you want to go out? You automatically assume it's going to turn out the same exact way. So why would I even bother? And it feels like it's that kind of energy. That's like a pattern that you need to work on. And that's why this obstacle is coming up. And it may not just be internal. Like you may find that because you are in that state of mind, you're somehow manifesting external blockages in your life where, people act the way you fear they will. People say the things you're afraid they will. And of course they will, because you are all that is in this universe, in your universe, right? You're the only person that exists. You're the only one with power over your own life. And so when you expect things to happen a certain way, they will pan out exactly the way you expect them to, because you are God in your world. So sometimes what happens is these obstacles come around in more metaphorical senses. And so you might find that there's a blockage in one aspect of your life, but then there's also blockages in completely unrelated areas of your life as well. And all of those come back to the same root cause, which is this fear of committing, this fear of, well, if I put my energy towards something and it then gets taken away from me, or it then walks away from me or leaves me hanging, what am I going to do? Well, you're going to try again, because clearly that situation was there to teach you something. You've learned the lesson. Take the lesson, but leave the hurt, right? Next we're still looking at which old beliefs this is reflecting. We have the King of Coins, and that's clarified by, the Five of Swords in reverse. Okay, I think there's almost... for lack of a better word, an obsession with stability. It feels like there is this almost feeling like you need to cling on to what you already have. And the second you loosen your grip, everything's going to fall apart, because the King of Coins is the most stable card, in my opinion, of all of them. Of all the minor arcana, this is the most fixed, unmoving card. And for that to be we're still talking about which old belief this reflects. And for that to be clarified by the Five of Swords in reverse, which is about avoiding conflict, no matter what the cost, it kind of tells me that you've almost become comfortable where you are. And you feel like, okay, well, I may not be living my dream life, but at least no one can shake me off this position. No one can uproot me right now, because I am so fully, deeply established where I am. And why would I want to invite any new energy? It will probably lead to conflict. And you know what? It probably will. It probably will, because that's just the nature of life, of growth and evolution. That is just how we learn. But that doesn't mean we stop trying. That doesn't mean we stop letting people in. That doesn't mean we stop reaching out and looking at what the world has to offer us. That doesn't mean we stop growing and evolving. And you have to understand that the stability that you've built around you, that in fact, I feel like people might even applaud you for being in that position where your life is so consistent, so predictable, so safe, so stable. So many people might be like, how did you do it? Teach me how you did it. And so you might feel like, oh, okay, well, this is the best my life is going to get because everyone envies it. And so you've almost convinced yourself that being stuck is a good thing and that you don't need any more. You don't need any excitement. You don't need any fun. You don't need any new hobbies, new friends, new colleagues, new partners. Now, obviously, take this as it resonates. I'm not telling you to, break your monogamous relationship and go poly. No. But the point I'm trying to make is it's like there is change at your doorstep, but it won't fully materialize in your life unless you allow it. And this obstacle, whatever this is here right now to sort of kick you into gear, to push you into action. Because when we trust the mystery of how life unfolds is when we experience newness. And it does feel like you've been craving newness, but also vehemently opposing it. Because look, the only cards that are upright are all earth sign cards. Like, these are very fixed energies, and air and water are all in reverse. It's like you don't want anything to do with it. So yeah, as far as the energies or the old patterns that this is reflecting, this is definitely about you've built a protection fortress around you to not let anyone come in to hurt you, but that also means that no one comes in, period. And you've surrounded yourself by what's familiar, and of course that means you can't be, hit with a sudden surprising event, but it also means that nothing will ever surprise you again. So yeah, I think that's the pattern that's coming up. So now that we understand this, let's take a look at how you can get through this, how you can get through this obstacle, and how you can have a big breakthrough. So first we have the 5 of Cups in reverse. And to clarify that, we have the 6 of Pentacles. 5 of Cups in reverse and the 6 of Pentacles. How can you work through this? Oh, that's interesting. Both the 4 and the 5 of Cups are in reverse. And again, a Pentacles card upright. Okay, so the 5 of Cups talks about crying over spilt milk and not appreciating what you do have, right? And so in the imagery, you'll see these 3 cups are all spilt, and she's upset about that, but she doesn't recognize that these 2 cups are still upright, that they're still there waiting for her. And so to have that energy reversed is just straight up telling us that step 1, look around you. Let go of, being upset about the past just for one moment, and look around you. Make a list of things that you're blessed with right now, not things from your past that you were blessed with that you still carry with you, but right now, new things around you. What are some things that have happened to you in the last month, year, decade that have really transformed you in a good way, that have really made you happy and excited to be alive and grateful? Recognize those things. And to clarify that with the 6 of Pentacles, the 6 of Pentacles is about generosity, about sharing, about giving to those who don't have what you have. And I think that's really interesting because the vast majority of this spread talks about not letting people in, not letting new experiences in. What we didn't recognize until now is the fear is not about receiving, the fear is about overgiving. The fear is that if you allow people in, you will be expected to give more than you receive. And that's been a pattern in your previous connections, in your previous business ventures, whatever this is related to. You might come from a history of being the one to do the work, being the one to give and give and give and receive nothing in return. And now you've fortified yourself to a point where it's like, yeah, I wasn't receiving anything anyway, but this wall around me will keep me from giving either. And in that way, I will balance the scales. But, oh, interesting, he's holding some scales. But I think the idea is that refocusing your energy on what you do have around you, what you have that makes you happy, what you have that makes you feel abundant, feel loved, feel cherished, feel happy. Recognizing those things is how you fill up your cup. I think that might be a very narrow understanding of reciprocity, where you feel like, I do a good thing for you, which means you do a good thing for me, and it has to come from you. Whereas the scales of, karmic balance don't necessarily account for where it's coming from, just that it comes to you. So if you put out good energy will come back to you. It may just not come from the same source that you gave to, right? So that's why I think this gratitude practice is going to be very important, because you might find that actually you were being reciprocated to, you were being given back to. It was simply not by the people that you gave to. But the point is, when you understand that actually the scales are balanced, you kind of approach connections with a very different mindset, where it stops being a zero-sum game and it starts being a more organic sort of feeling of, I don't have to buy your affection, you don't have to buy mine. I don't have to sit here and make a list of all the offenses that I've committed and all the offenses you've committed and then see which one of us is worse. Like, there might be sort of that kind of energy where it's like so forcefully balanced. And so you're being encouraged to widen your perspective outside of these connections, outside of these experiences, and look at your life as one whole entity, one whole system, and recognize the delicate balance that exists, not just from point A to B, but from point A to Z. Encompass your entire lived experience as one big unit. And then you'll see how in so many ways you have been reciprocated to, you just didn't recognize it at the time. Right? So let's take a look at what energy you're being called to embody right now in order to work through this obstacle. We have the seed. Beautiful. I'll read this from the book. This is number 66, again with the sixes. And also you're going from 65 to 66. That's beautiful. Yeah, I think this is very much a potent time for you to create new belief systems, to create new thought patterns, to manifest new things. But let's see. The seed, the beginning, the origin, the pearl. Beginnings come in many forms. They are not always a beautiful seed placed intentionally in nourishing soil. Origin stories, like any birth story, are complex, surprising, multi-layered, and usually reveal a central image or detail that represents the fully formed being. Simply stated, the end is present in the beginning, or the entire oak tree resides within the acorn. Whether you follow this imaginal theory or not, know that when this card appears, there is potent generative energy all around. You are bumping up against a growth edge. It is from the grit that the pearl eventually comes to be. So I am going to read uprights or reversals for this, and your one came out upright, which is great. When like generative, fertile, germinating, building. Yeah, I definitely think this is a very fertile time for you to be growing, to be sprouting, because it feels like you have roots. It's time to now build up from them. You've done all the groundwork you need to in order to build up your defenses, to build up your boundaries, to enforce them, to learn how to say yes and no whenever you want to. Now it's time to go out and do something with that. And that's what that seed card tells us. So, for your extra advice, we have Keepers of the Earth. You are not alone. Ancient ancestors stand beside you. Beautiful. So, it is quite easy to feel very alone on this healing journey, especially on this planet. Like, wow, it's so easy to feel lonely, but at any point during this process, if you do feel the crushing weight of loneliness, you can always turn to your ancestral wisdom, your spirit guides, your angels, your entities that you believe in, or just the people around you, the people in your support network. The point is, you don't have to do this alone. And in fact, a big part of this is for you to let go of loneliness and embrace community and make new friends, have connections, go out and see what the world is like. And that's beautiful. Pole 1. So that's your reading for today. Very interesting. I hope it resonated. If it did, please remember to like and subscribe to my channel for more readings. Comment below how this resonated for you, because I'm really curious to hear about what's going on for you. If you like my work and you'd like to get yourself a private reading, you can leave me an email. I have my email address in the video description. Or if you'd just like to support my work, you can always grab my PayPal tip jar link and support me in that way. I super appreciate it. In either case, thank you so much for being here and sharing your time and energy with me and letting me read for you. I truly hope it's been helpful and has brought you some clarity. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So stick around to the outro for another reading on my channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye. Pal 2, hello. So if you guys picked the Opalite Moon, then this is your reading all about what obstacle is in your way, why it's coming up, and how you can work through it. So before I get into the cards and everything, I wanted to say that this moon stone, this moon crystal, it's opalite, and I usually have it facing the other way, but for whatever reason it demanded to be facing this way. So I don't know if a backwards moon means anything to you. The moon is supposed to be like your emotions, so maybe your emotions feel all topsy-turvy. I don't know, but yeah, I just thought it was interesting, and I feel like one person out there might resonate with it, so I have to say it. So I've gone ahead and pre-shuffled your cards. These cards here will tell us what this obstacle is that you are facing right now. With these cards here, we'll take a look at what old patterns are being reflected through this obstacle, because that's basically what obstacles are. They're just old patterns resurfacing for us to heal and release. So this will be very insightful. And then we'll take a look at what you can do to work through this obstacle, what energy you should be embodying, and finally some advice about working through this. So without much further ado, let's dive in. So, what is this obstacle? You can use this part to see if this resonates with you, if you pick the right pile, or if you don't really have an obstacle in mind, this could tell you what it is. So, first we have the Knight of Wands in reverse, and that is clarified by the Three of Pentacles. And your oracle card, your animal spirit card, is the Dolphin Spirit in reverse. This and that are true. Okay, interesting. I think this might be a work situation where someone you work with, maybe a colleague, maybe a boss, is sort of draining your energy, in the sense of they're draining your passion for the work that you do. It feels like you just differ so deeply in your opinions that it is impossible for you to see their side of things, right? Because with the this and that are true in reverse, it kind of feels like you just, the ideologies are so vastly different that it's like you can't coexist. With the Knight of Wands in reverse, this is immature energy. This is the kind of energy that makes you feel like, what am I even doing? I can't even think straight. It's the kind of energy where you've done so much healing and so much growing, and you think you are so grown and so mature, and then boom, suddenly you're doing some ridiculous things that are not fitting of your elevated character, but sometimes people just make you so upset, and it's inevitable. We are human, and sometimes we're gonna have bad days where we make bad choices. But for that to be clarified by the Three of Pentacles, which is a card of collaborations, of working with other people, of having help with whatever is on your plate, of not having to work alone. So with these two and this card together, it really does feel like a work situation where people are just not doing the thing they should be doing, and it's throwing you off your game with work. So that resonates. Hello, that's a big obstacle, dude. Like, you have to see these people every single day and they won't behave, and it feels like it's getting in the way of any progress you're trying to make. So let's take a look at why this is happening, which old belief patterns this might be triggering, because we manifest everything around us based on how we see the world, right? So if this is in your path right now, there's a reason. There's some old pattern that this has come here to highlight. So let's take a look. We have the High Priestess, clarified by the Chariot in reverse. Ooh, both major arcana. This is a big thing. Okay, I think the issue here is pacing. Yeah, okay. The High Priestess is someone who knows things intuitively, instinctually. She is connected to wisdom that is beyond the earth. It is beyond anything humans are usually capable of or taught. And she doesn't need to question the thoughts, the messages that come to her. She doesn't question the things that she channels. She simply knows that they are real. The Chariot is, when upright, is someone who moves really fast. They know where they're going, and they are going there really quickly. There's also Cancerian energy. And you know how crabs like to move really quickly? Even if they're moving sideways, it makes sense in their minds. So it is very directional energy. So to have that in reverse talks about slowing down of obstacles in your path. And these together, it kind of makes me feel like you have built a knowledge bank, a sort of inventory of information, of skills, of thoughts and ideas, beliefs that have come from several years, maybe even decades of working really hard, of, um, you know, spending all that time learning and growing and evolving. To you, the ideas that come to you make perfect sense, and they work, right? There is a logic there. It's just right. You're just right. But you may have been surrounded by people that don't get it, that don't believe it immediately, that don't trust it, that they have to get to that point by their own methods, on their own, using their own techniques and whatnot. And it could be that there is a frustration there of, why is it taking you so long? I told you what the answer is. I told you what the right way to do things is. Why won't you believe me? That might be the very core of it. It's like you feel like you have to justify everything you say and do. And it may have been something you've had to do from a very young age. You may have been forced to justify every choice you made, even as a little kid, where you weren't allowed the luxury of making mistakes. You weren't allowed the luxury of following your instinct, because people were always like, no, wait, that's not, you can't just do whatever you want. You have to follow the procedure. I'm surprised the Hierophant isn't here yet, but because this feels like Hierophanty energy of this is how it's always done and this is how it will always be done. And then you come in with your extensive knowledge and understanding of how things can be better, and people are like, no, 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 no. You're going to have to show you're working. There might be a little bit of neurodivergence here, I'm not going to lie. You may have a different way of seeing the world than everyone else, and that could lead to a lot of clashes, understandably, because there are things that you just know, but no one else wants to believe you when you say you know these things. And it's almost a frustration around people doubting your capabilities, people doubting what you can do, people doubting your sense of skill, I guess, your sense of understanding, your knowledge. You may just feel very gaslit or what's the word? Dismissed. That's the one. You may feel dismissed, and that could be a pattern in your life that keeps coming up over and over again. What else? We have the Ace of Cups, okay. And that's clarified by the Hanged Man in reverse. All right. Yeah, okay. Okay. I am not trying to diagnose anyone, so only take this if it's true for you. But this is also giving me that feeling of, why is everyone trusting their emotions when I'm offering pure logic here? And sometimes that happens with people who have things like autism, ADHD, are on a spectrum somehow, where it doesn't make sense why other people would simply not listen to you because they feel a certain way, because their emotions are leading them to not believe you, or their preconceived ideas of you is hindering their objective sense of what's good or bad. Because with the Ace of Cups talking all about emotions and the Hanged Man in reverse talking about a refusal to see a new perspective, putting these two together, that's kind of the message I'm getting, really. And it may also be that you're quite fixed in your ways of thinking. And to you, that makes sense because it comes from a lifetime of collecting objective truths, objective reality, of understanding things that there are no two ways about. And so when you put all of this with this card about this and that are true being in reverse, you're like, there is no way what I'm saying is wrong because here are all my sources. And then someone will just look you in the face and be like, nah, but I don't believe that. And it's like, ooh, I'm telling you what's true. It's not up to you to believe it or not. But I think all of that frustration is then causing you to approach every single person with that skepticism of, you're probably not going to believe what I say right now anyway. So why would I even bother explaining it to you? And that's just causing more and more friction. So if that's triggered something in you right now, haha, welcome to shadow work. Yeah, people can be quite driven by their emotions, and to you that may not always make sense, but it is simply how humans function for the most part. So it is just something we have to look at and be like, I can't change these people. All I can do is change how much weight I put in their words and their perception of me. That's because that's literally all we can do as individuals. We cannot control someone else's understanding of the world. We can control our own, right? Very interesting. So now that we see the pattern, how do we break it? What can you do to work through this obstacle? We have the Emperor, clarified by the Three of Swords in reverse. What's interesting is in this card, he has a sword and the stone, and there's 3 swords and a heart. You might have been almost described as someone with a stone heart, which is so dramatic, but it's something people say sometimes when you don't offer the same emotional intensity to them as they are bringing to the situation. It's very interesting. But with the Emperor and the Three of Swords in reverse, how do you get through this obstacle? The Emperor is all about independence, about taking charge, taking the lead in a situation. That's that Aries energy of leading the way, of paving the path. The Three of Swords in reverse is about healing heartbreak or not being heartbroken, basically. So, to put these together, it's very interesting. How can you heal through this obstacle? How can you work through this obstacle? I think it might be legwork. It might be conversations, and uncomfortable ones at that. You might have to take the first step and inform people of, hey, I do not think the way most people do. And to me, this feels like you're dismissing me, or, I'm offering only factual evidence, and it feels like I don't understand where you're coming from with this non-factual stuff. And please, could you explain it to me? Because with the Three of Swords in reverse, it almost feels like you may perceive the situation to be a lot worse than it actually is. Where, because you're not able to get a read on people's emotions, you may assume the absolute worst. when really it's just a lack of communication when there should have been communication. And maybe the answer is to be a little more proactive about these communication opportunities every single time a new situation arises. Every time you feel like someone's getting short with you, someone's getting impatient or dismissing you, it might be worth bringing that up and saying, look, I don't understand what's going on right now. Please, can you put it in different words or explain it to me in a way that I might understand, because right now this is not making sense to me. And that's not to say you haven't already been doing it, but that might be something to actively do, even in situations where you don't feel misunderstood, just to make sure that you're all on the same page. Because it truly doesn't feel like these people are out to get you. Everyone is simply out to make their point. And it feels like you might become collateral damage more often than not. But that's not because anyone wants to willfully hurt you, unless they do, in which case, well, be safe. But it may just be a perception thing where you fear that people demand your justifications when they have none to give of their own. But that's simply because you're trying to convince them to see the world through your lens, which is just impossible. It's just not going to work. We all have different perceptions, different ways of seeing the world, and trying to push everyone around you to see the world through your eyes is simply impractical. So what's the practical solution? It is to have conversations. Hey, this is how I see the situation. Can you explain to me how you see it so that we may reach a compromise here? Because then you'll realize that actually there aren't dramatic emotions, there aren't hurt feelings. It is simply because there is not enough information. I hope that makes sense. So what energy are you being called to embody? Now with these ones, I don't usually read upright or reverse, but today I am. And we have the Vessel in reverse. Interesting. I don't think this has ever come up for me before. I've never seen this card come out. That cool. This is number 69. Nice. Oh. Nope. Nope. The Vessel. The body, the container, the cup. The vessel may be the most powerful archetypal form on earth. It is everywhere. Cups hold liquid, stoves hold fire, our bodies hold organs, our homes hold families. Through the simple act of separation, the vessel protects what it contains. Nests protect the eggs, savings accounts protect our earnings. Even the planets are contained within their circular orbit. When this card appears, it's time to assess what is being held together and how. Is the vessel too tight, too loose, broken, empty, full? Or perhaps there is no vessel at all and the contents spill in every direction. The vessel has a life cycle that must be honored. Is it time for you to build, break, or repair? When dark, trapped, being in a bubble. Yeah, it might feel like you're very trapped in the situation, when in fact, you might learn over time that it wasn't a trap at all. No one was trying to catch you out or have gotcha moments. I mean, maybe they did in the past, but the people around you right now, certainly not. It is simply that your perception, and okay, this is not me trying to gaslight you and be like, no, it's all in your head. It's not. But your perception might be making things feel a lot worse than they actually are. And it could very well be about breaking that wall and going out there and being like, hey, I feel a weird vibe here. Can we talk about what's going on and make sure that everyone is on the same page? it truly does feel like what you need right now is conversation more than anything else. And you may find that these obstacles are not obstacles at all. Everyone's just working towards a common goal. It's just that everyone's doing it in different ways. And these conversations might help everyone get on the same page. Finally, your advice is align your life. What is not aligned or needs to change? Didn't I just say about everyone getting on the same page? That's that's alignment. But also, what is not aligned or needs to change? Maybe look at multiple areas in your life, because this could be a pattern that extends beyond just work. Do you have the same issues in your family, in your hobbies, in your skill sets, in your friend groups? Because if so, it could help you really reassess and understand that maybe the answer is in me. Maybe that change can come from me, as opposed to hoping that people will someday see the world my way, which may be the right way objectively, but people are not necessarily known for being the most objective. So that might be an uphill battle that you don't want to fight. It's much easier to reassess what you expect from people and how much of the conversation you can change on your end. Very interesting. So that's your reading for today, Pal 2. I hope it resonated and brought you some clarity. If it did, please remember to like and subscribe. Comment below how you feel about this reading, because I'm so curious about what this situation is. If you enjoy my work and you'd like a private reading, you can always drop me an email. My email address is in the description. If you want to support the channel in other ways, you can always check out my PayPal tip jar and support me in that way. I most appreciate it. But yeah, thank you so much for being here and spending some time with me and sharing your energy with me, and letting me read for you. I hope it helped. You can stick around to the outro for another reading on my channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye. Hey Pile 3, so if you guys chose the blue sodalite crystal, then this is your reading. Before I tell you anything about the cards, I just want to say shuffling these cards was a dream. You guys, they came out so smoothly. It was like butter. It was beautiful. So whatever this message is, I feel like you already know it. This is just confirmation. So I'm expecting this reading to be very clear, very to the point, no faffing about. So let's get in. You guys might be my psychic pile. So I've gone ahead and pre-shuffled your cards. These cards here will tell us what the situation is. What is this obstacle all about that's in your way? These cards will give us maybe an insight into what old belief system this is reflecting, what old thought patterns are coming up through this obstacle in order for you to release. With these cards, we'll take a look at how you can work through these obstacles and what energy you're being called to embody. And then finally, with this card here, we'll take a look at any extra advice for you to get through this situation and live your best life, like the smooth kings and queens and monarchs that you are. So without much further ado, let's dive in. What is this obstacle that's in your way? We have the Six of Wands in reverse, clarified by the Hermit. I think the obstacle in your own path is I think it's I hate to say this, but I feel like it's really just you. It's your own inability to recognize how you've grown and evolved. We also have, the Brown Bear Spirit in reverse, take time out. Okay, I see what's going on here. And I also see why the cards came out so quickly and efficiently. You are a workhorse, pile three. You're a workhorse. You do. And it's like you don't take any time for yourself. And so even things that may not be obstacles, if they just don't work fast enough, you might see them as obstacles. Like that's a whole other thing. But here, this situation specifically, the Six of Wands in reverse talks about loss, about not winning something. It could be a competition that you didn't win. But in either case, that clarified by the Hermit is the energy of going inwards, of internalizing, of looking within yourself to see what can change, to see how you can grow and evolve from the situation. It could be that something in your life didn't go your way recently and you're being all introspective about it. But the irony is this take time out card in reverse, where, okay, let me explain it through a metaphor, right? Say a tiger is injured in the wild. Is that tiger going to go out and hunt prey immediately? No, they're going to take some time, lick those wounds, shape up, rest for a bit, and then go out again. But it feels like you've faced some sort of a loss right now, and instead of taking that time to heal and grow from it, you've almost like thrown yourself into almost spiritual bypassing, if that makes sense. So it's like, instead of saying, hey, it's okay that this didn't go exactly as I planned for it to, how can I hold myself as I process this loss, as I grieve this opportunity? Instead of, giving yourself that grace, it's like, okay, well, how did I manifest this thing? How did it go wrong? What did I do wrong? What was my thought patterns like? What are my behavior patterns like? Why am I not able to change the outcome? It's more of a aggressive approach to processing this situation. And so the great irony, that's what I meant when I said your only obstacle here is you, is it's not that you are sort of pushing opportunities away. It's that you're almost overly analyzing it. It's like, okay, so this is going to be a tricky example to navigate, but I'm going to say it. It's like those old-timey Tumblr social justice warriors who saw a problem with every single situation if it wasn't perfectly sanitary, like perfectly clean, perfectly neutral, with no individual opinions or flair. It's like when someone says, oh, I miss my mother, and then someone replies to that tweet saying, oh, some of us didn't have mothers, how dare you? It's like that kind of energy. It feels like you're putting yourself through that sort of treatment, where it's like, instead of giving yourself the time to have feelings about what's happened, you're immediately like, well, obviously I did something wrong. Obviously I didn't do what I should have, because otherwise this would have never happened. It feels like that kind of energy. You're not giving yourself the time and space the time and space it takes to process something before you start to analyze it. It's like I can't even get my words out quick enough for you. It feels like my mind is going much faster than my voice is. That's wild. Okay. Whew, let's just take a deep breath, okay? Pile 3, I need you to give yourself a bit of time, all right? But let's take a look at what old belief systems this is reflecting. Okay, we have the world, beautiful, clarified by death in reverse. Okay, it is a fear of change. That's what this is. Because the world is ultimate happiness. It is, the final card in the major arcana. It is complete fulfillment. Everything is perfect. Everything is wonderful. Death is the opposite of that. Death is the energy of coming in and destroying everything you knew was real. It is the energy of transformation, but not necessarily in like a destructive way, but more in a, this is happening, whatever you do about it. Like, you can't change the outcome. This is going to happen. So with the world and death in reverse, it feels like there is almost a fear of your world being turned upside down, of the things you know and are comfortable with being changed up, even on a tiny scale. There's the sense of, I need to control every outcome ever, and even a minor setback, even the tiniest little delay, means that I have failed. Any change from the plan means that I have failed. Anything that happens that I did not see coming means that I have failed. It's like you expect yourself, you have the most insane expectations of yourself that if you even thought to put those expectations on someone else, you would be appalled. You'd be like, who am I to expect this from someone else? But you then give yourself that treatment. And it's like that. It's like a paradox in your mind where you're like, everyone else is allowed to freedom. They're allowed the joy of making mistakes, of making choices that may not always be the right choices, but they're allowed it. But me, oh no, there is no way. And because of that, win or loss, you will almost find that you're never satisfied. It's like, no matter how good things get, in your mind, you're like, well, it could have been better. Well, it was exactly how I expected it to, but I expected to exceed my expectations, and that didn't happen. You see what I mean? It's like there is no point at which you will feel like you've done enough. And the old belief system is about, only if I do enough will I be worthy. And only by controlling every single outcome in my world will I feel comfortable. It is a fear of the unknown at the very core of it, but it comes out in so many different ways. That's so interesting, Pile 3. Next we have Strength. All these major arcana, wow. Clarified by the Hierophant. They're all major arcana. Oh, wow. This is a big moment for you, Pile 3. This is a big step towards growth, towards healing. Strength, major arcana, Strength and the Hierophant. Both fixed signs. This is Scorpio as well. This is a fixed sign as well. This is Leo, Taurus, Virgo, Scorpio. I believe this may be Sagittarius or Aquarius. If it's Aquarius, I'm going to scream because that's the fourth fixed sign. Like, they're all fixed. But with Strength and the Hierophant, it's like you feel like you are capable as long as things stay the same. So the Strength card is about having the ability to know when force is needed and to know when to pull back and have a gentle touch. It is that sense of, I understand exactly what to do should things go sideways, and therefore I know that nothing will ever go sideways because nothing will catch me by surprise. But that's clarified by the Hierophant, which is the card of tradition, of stability, of things never changing. That fixed earth energy, oh my goodness, it is very, well, it's very familiar to me, I'm going to be honest. But it is very unshakable, and it can be very damaging given the circumstances, because it almost feels like you feel capable and safe and in control as long as nothing changes, as long as everything goes exactly how it's been going this whole time. But what that means is nothing will ever happen to you. Nothing new will ever happen. Nothing will ever change. And death being the ultimate card of change, the ultimate card of transformation, to have that in reverse, it kind of tells me that that's a massive obstacle, not in your day to day, but in your evolution as a soul. Like this, there's a reason all of these are major arcana, this one as well, is because this is a moment in the evolution of your soul. This is a pivotal part in your soul's journey across lifetimes, not just for this lifetime. You can see how this is profound, because this small setback that for some reason is disproportionately harrowing to you, you understand why it's so disproportionately harrowing. Is because it goes much deeper than just this one situation. Because this is about your evolution beyond just this lifetime. Not even just this week, this lifetime. And the pattern here that needs transformation is the pattern of refusing transformation, of releasing control over the situation because you're afraid of what might happen next. Well, you'll never know until you do release that control. And that's the great irony of it all. Oh, I've just looked in the viewfinder. These cards are all kinds of crooked. And I know if the Hermit came out, if you have any Virgo in your chart, I am so sorry you had to see that. Okay, I think they're a little straighter now. That's the best I can do. I'm sorry, Virgos. Okay, finally, let's take a look at what you can do to encourage this transformation, to work through this obstacle. I'm being very careful not to spin this card around because we are looking at reversals today. But what can you do to work through this obstacle? We have the Star in reverse, again, Major Arcana, and the Emperor also in reverse. Well, these cards have been shuffled so many times. There is no way two separate decks gave us so many Major Arcana. The Star in reverse and the Emperor in reverse. The Star is all about optimism, about looking forward to things and being excited about the future. The Emperor is that Aries energy, leadership, of going out there and doing the thing that you want to do, of taking action, being the first one to lead the path. Both of these are in reverse. And that kind of tells me that you need to go to the very depth of what you understand of this world. Because right now it feels like all your actions, all your hopes and dreams, all your desires, what you consider optimism, what you consider leadership, what you consider jumping into action, all of that is colored by this feeling of needing to control the outcome. So you only allow yourself to hope just enough to the point where you will make it happen, whether or not the universe steps in and helps, whether or not you get lucky, whether or not you manifest it, you can physically make it happen. And so in that way, it feels like what you hope for, what you look forward to, is still very limited because it is within your grasp, it is within your control. Whereas the energy of the Star is about looking beyond what anyone thinks is possible It is seeing the light on the darkest day when everyone has their eyes closed. Right? The Emperor, this is the energy of a trailblazer, and it feels like you want to fully recalibrate what trail you want to blaze, because it feels like right now you may see yourself as a leader, and you may well be a leader in your field or in your community, but it feels like you're not leading people where you actually want to go. You're leading people where you think they expect you to go. So, for instance, I'm like, okay. Sorry. Again, my brain is going faster than my words are. That's wild. It's never happened to me before, you guys. That's crazy. Okay. For instance, say someone is in a leadership position in a business. Okay, say they are very successful and people look up to them for advice, for mentorship, for guidance, for instruction, all of that. And it turns out they hate the business. They hate everything it stands for. They don't agree with the ethics. They don't agree with the practices of the business. But because of their position, because they are expected to lead their team towards generating profit for this business, they do it anyway, and it eats away at their soul. That's the kind of energy I'm getting. It's like you lead your life towards a destination that you don't even want to go to, but you're afraid of wanting more, of asking for more, because you've almost convinced yourself that it's never going to happen. Why? Because you cannot control that outcome. This is safer. Where you are is safer because you know exactly how it goes. And so when you lead in this paradigm, you're not going very far at all. It's like you're leading someone from your living room to the kitchen, when in fact you should be leading them up a mountain. You are capable of it. You just don't believe you are. So the advice here is to expand your horizons, to allow yourself to look beyond what you know is true, what you know is possible, what you believe you can make happen. Grow beyond it, because that's what you were put here for. That's the crucial part of your soul's journey right now, is to grow, to evolve to a point that you wouldn't even have dreamt of. So what's the energy you're being called to embody? The animal. Yes. This is card 19. I'm going to read this from the book, but the vibe I'm getting is like just go with your gut. Just follow your instincts for once. Allow yourself to be led way off the beaten path, but let's see what the book says. That's just my feeling that I got. The animal, the beast, the wild one, the she-wolf. We are mammals. The hair on our chest reminds us so. We try hard to deny our unrefined animalistic nature, yet through this archetype we tap into power and direction. Activating the animal within means reawakening our relationship to nature in the most broad and embodied sense. Drinking from waterfalls, roaring at the moon, opening eyes underwater, eating berries from the vine. The life force of our planet begs us to set down the devices, the constraints, and the social constructs, and remember the warm blood that pulses through our veins. The animal longs for breath, food, procreation, and physicality. It wants soil under our nails and starlight on our skin. If this all sounds terribly unsophisticated to you, take note that it is said that when the Buddha became enlightened, he roared like a great lion. When light, vital, elemental, alive dances. Yeah, you're very much being called to reconnect to your primal instinct, to go back to the dirt, to go back to the soil where infinite things are possible. The soil isn't just dead mud. It contains so much life and so much potential. And that's kind of what you're being called to tap into, is that untapped ecosystem within you that you have put in a lead-lined, sanitized box for the fear of losing control. Just lose control for once. See what happens. Look beyond what you know and see what you find. So finally, what's the advice for you? Share your voice. Come out of the cave. Persecution, expression. That's what I'm saying. Share your voice, not the voice that you are expected to have, but your opinions, your expression. Come out of the cave. You've been there long enough. You've learned everything there is to learn in that solitude, in that structure. It's time to break out of it and ask for more and express more. This is a potent, powerful time in your evolution as a soul. So do not take it lightly. Do not take this advice lightly. I'm so serious right now. Pile 3, you are learning to be. You're learning to be. You're learning to simply exist without rules, without regulations, without timetables and appointment. Just be. It's easier said than done, but it is worth doing. So, wow, that is an amazing reading for you, Pile 3. I'm so glad you came here because I got to bathe in this untapped potential and be inspired. But I hope it resonated. That's your reading for today. If it did resonate, please remember to like and subscribe. Comment below. Let me know what's going on because this is so fascinating. If you like what I do, you'd like to book a private reading, you can reach out to me via email. Or if you'd just like to support the channel, my PayPal tip jar is linked in the video description as well. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your time and energy with me and letting me do this reading for you. It was so powerful, you guys. I truly am grateful. And I hope it helped. Stick around to the outro just after this for another reading on my channel. Thank you so much for being here again, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.